It's the day after the backyard brawl, and it still feels so damn good. I am just happy to say today that Nico Marchio proved me wrong, and he proved a lot of you wrong too. Let's talk about that.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about the Mountaineers again on the football side of things today. I appreciate that very much, y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here as we dive into another episode of this show. Man, it's the day after, and I still feel great. I'm still trolling Pitt fans. I'm curious to know, are any of you? The spread's already out for next week, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Kansas is heavily favored as West Virginia goes on the road. That's going to be a super interesting thing to watch as well. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. What's up, guys? Okay, so Nico Marchio had himself a day yesterday. Obviously, we know that in the second half. And I thought, I really got to thinking, what are some things that I can be positive about? Because I found myself looking for the negatives today at first. He can't run very well. The offensive line was shaky at times. And I said, you know what? Let me watch this again and watch the fourth quarter, specifically third and fourth quarter. And is there anything that I can garner from this? Is there anything that I can grab from this? Is there anything that I can hold on to from this that would make me excited about the future with Nico Marchio involved in Morgantown? Because to be honest, it still feels like it's a little uncertain, right? Until I watched it again. Nico Marchio turned into a different person under pressure. That guy we watched against Bishop Gorman that scored against the best team in America in high school football, where he puked on the football and threw a touchdown. Literally, if you've never watched this video before, Nico Marchio literally throws up on the football mid-play and throws a strike to somebody to win the game. Come back, I think it was 18 points down in 3 minutes or something insane that they came back from against I don't know if it was the number one team. It was a top 25 team in high school football. I know that. And they were just Chandler, Arizona, a really good high school football team, but like only in the state. This was against a national really good team. So I feel like he turned back into that yesterday finally, which is what we've been waiting on. Hopefully this gives him the confidence to continue down this path, right? That's what we're hoping, because we've always agreed that the best thing for West Virginia is for Nico to be good. He's marketable. He's handsome. He's well-spoken. He's tough. He's grit. He's got a lot of grit, as Rich Rod would say. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to look for reasons to be positive, because as I like to say, one of the things I learned in recovery is it's like confirmation bias, right? If there's 10 math problems on the board, 1 is wrong and 9 are right, I'm going to focus on the 1 that is wrong rather than the 9 that are right. I have to be better than that. And that's why in this situation with Nico, I decided, you know what? Let me focus on the things that are right rather than the things that are wrong, because I do have that. I do have that at times, right? So we're going to check that out really quick. Obviously, the biggest thing, we were 5 for 5 in the red zone, guys, yesterday with him as quarterback. That's a big deal. The one with Scotty Fox, maybe there was one with Scotty Fox. So maybe it was 4 out of 5 with him and 1 with Scotty Fox. But either way, it was like, wow, really successful in the red zone with him. He did complete 76% of his completions for 192 yards, a touchdown and no picks. He was sacked twice for negative 15 yards, which kind of sucks. And he really didn't. And, my biggest criticism of Nico is his his mobility, which I just wasn't expecting. I thought he could run better than he has coming into the year. I think a lot of us did. It seems like he's gotten a little slower, but I know I'm supposed to focus on those positive things, so that's what we're doing. He played, from what I can gather, right around 69 snaps out of 90. So he played most of the snaps. He was pulled for 5 series in the second half, which was like around 20, 25 snaps. That's when Scotty Fox and Jalen Henderson combined for 3 of 7 passing for 68 yards and 2 picks, which inspires confidence in nobody. His total contribution on offense was 188 net passing yards, and that's after sacks. He was obviously involved in all the red zone decision making and different things like that, which is why, overall it looks a lot better. So, I wanted to go for some game flow moments. What were some things? Let's look at the entirety of this, right? The first half, the benching, and then when he came back, because it's pretty wild. So we obviously started out strong. We had the short control passes that helped set up that Ty Edwards rushing touchdown, right? Where he went in from 12 yards and all that. So, he was 10 for 14. We know that, and about 100 yards, but we'd only scored 7 points going into the half or whatever it was. Or was it 7-3? I can't remember the halftime score without looking at the box score again. Yes, it was 7-3 at half. So, I understand why Rich Rod made the change, because had we had better quarterback play, because it wasn't perfect and there were guys wide open. Like if you go back and watch, there's a lot to clean up. There's a lot of guys that were open that he just didn't see, didn't throw. And I think the moment's big. He's also just not 100% comfortable in this offense yet, I think, is the biggest part of this. Maybe he'll get better with that. It's crazy, man. But, the offense only had 4.2 yards per play. Was it 10-14 at halftime, or was it? No, it wasn't 10-14 at halftime. Okay. It's weird. Yep. Okay. The scoring is a little weird when you look at it. Like in the box score, it's like 7-7, 10-7. It's just an odd looking. Anyway, so obviously he was reinserted when we were down by 10. And this is where the magic kind of started to happen. He goes in, we're down by 10. Urgency's like full on urgency, like we're in panic mode. Like this is when most of us thought we were going to lose the game. And this is when he orchestrates a 13-play, 87-yard touchdown drive over the final 2:36 of regulation to tie the game 24-all. And this is right before we had to kick a field goal on the drive before. He went 5 for 8 for 64 yards on that drive and had the 2-yard touchdown pass to Grayson Barnes. And there was 2 passes on that drive that were elite, both to Grayson Barnes over the middle. So you're hoping for the next game. If I'm Kansas, I'm telling my players, look, they may have figured something out with this tight end a little. Is Grayson Barnes starting to come on as a weapon? Because if that happens, the middle of the field is going to be open, which means the safeties are going to be held in check better, which means the running game is going to be better. It's a thing to watch. If we can pass it to run it, then we're going to be in better shape for sure. Just the truth. So that led to obviously overtime, which I'll be honest, guys. I was wrong. I'm glad I'm not in the coaching situation. I would have probably went, if it was up to me and I was Rich Rod. I think the analytics say if you're on the road and you score with under 2 minutes to go, you go for 2. Obviously you're at home here, so that's probably why you don't do it. And it was the right choice to just kick the field goal. But I'm curious. Let me know in the chat if you were somebody that felt like we should have went ahead and just went for 2 to try to win the game, before we went to overtime. Like, were you scared of overtime like I was? I was. Even though our defense played well, you never know what's going to happen with the shortened field position and everything that goes on in overtime. Caleb wanted to go for it. A lot of people wanted to go for it. I'm glad we didn't in hindsight, obviously, because our crowd factored in and I think this is Rich Rodriguez's philosophy. And it turned out after the game, like, no, guys, the longer we can play, the more it benefits us because we're in better shape than them. Don't you understand? So this is something I'm going to keep in mind going forward. We're supposed to be in better shape, right? So that's just something to consider. Obviously, in overtime, Markiel led another 8-play, 25-yard drive where we mix in runs and short passes. It was tough sledding at times, but he converted a critical 3rd and 1 with that 7-yard pass to Jacob Barrick, who I hope is okay. There's another guy that looked like he was kind of injured. And then Ty Edwards was obviously able to go in for the 1-yard touchdown run. You know, Nico had a lot of poise under pressure. It was definitely evident. He avoided, you know, Pitt's defense at times. He was masterful in the pocket on some of those plays if you go back and watch. And he distributed a lot of checkdowns, which is what it is, you know. So he was really good in the high-pressure situations. I think this is the strengths, right? 76 completion percentage rate, 0 turnovers, unlike the backups. You know, his early game footwork issues led to some sacks and negative rushes. That's got to get fixed. But, like, if you want to look at some contextual stuff, this was his second backyard brawl win. Obviously, we know about the relief appearance in 2023. So, you know, he's obviously the pit killer. He's the Narduzzi killer. Maybe he got him fired. I don't know. So, obviously, his stat line doesn't scream, oh, he was dominant. But, man, he had an impact on this game. He's like the last – even though Ty Edwards is the MVP, you got to give Nico Marchiol – he made a big impact on the game. There's just no way around it. So, I want to finish this segment with 5 reasons to be positive about the offense going forward with Nico Marchiol. Clutch performance. That's the biggest one. Under pressure, in the clutch, you got to trust Nico, right? I think from here on out, there will be no bigger stage than what was Saturday. And I'm talking all the way to college football playoff. Just my opinion. It may be a bigger stage, like as far as people watching it, but there won't be a bigger pressure situation than the backyard brawl with the ball tied in the fourth quarter and then in overtime. I'm sorry. So I trust Nico in these situations. Doesn't mean he won't throw a pick in overtime someday or something like that. Like, people can make one mistake, but overall, I think he's got a poise about him that we can count on. You know, tying the score with 11 seconds left and sealing it in overtime proves that he thrives in these moments. Also, number 2, high completion percentage. This is not Arizona last year where he went 18 for 22. 76% completion percentage, 19 to 25. We'll take that. He demonstrated pinpoint accuracy at times, especially on short to intermediate routes. And, you know, obviously Cam Bond was a big part of that with the decoy. I think that really helped. They were just keying on him, which I I understand why. You know, he showed major resiliency. Do you know how many players would get down on themselves being benched mid-game? He bounced back without hesitation. And he said, well, it's no different than practice. We're like this in practice. We rotate. It's not a big deal. Just an amazing – we couldn't be more lucky to have him from a personal standpoint. Like, he is just an amazing kid, you know, and he has avoided the mental pitfalls that doomed the backups, which they threw 2 picks. So that mental toughness combined with his youth, because he doesn't have a ton of starts yet, you know, suggests that he's growing and has potential still. So, you know, his week 1 Pro Football Focus grade of 93.6, you know, was a great starting point. Let's continue to grow, man. You had a bad game in Athens. So what? Ohio State struggled with them guys for a few quarters until they broke through, you know, and we don't have that roster, obviously. So the fact that Ohio University stuck with Ohio State for over 2 or 3 quarters should tell you a lot about them. You know, winning the backyard brawl, this is number 4, the rivalry experience, but the momentum. I think momentum is a big word in sports and specifically football. Winning the backyard brawl injects confidence into Nico Marchiol in the offense, who struggled a little bit, right? I think he finished strong. especially with the red zone protection. And I think his familiarity with high stakes environments will translate to conference play and could boost the team chemistry and give us some explosive plays. And last but not least, it gives us a little bit of a balanced skill set for our scheme. Despite he has negative rushing, he does have 10 carries that showed his willingness to run when needed. So hopefully he can continue to get better in that, and they can figure out ways. Because once Nico gets running, he can run. He's just been stonewalled at the line of scrimmage no matter what. He doesn't have a quick first step. He's not explosive. Once he gets moving, he can actually run a little bit. So I'm hoping that continues to be something we get better at. But it's unfortunately hasn't showed up 100% yet. And that's it's something we're all hoping that gets better, but it's what can we do, right? So let's go to break though. All the recruits in this game were so happy with the performance. They really were. We're going to talk about what they said. I've compiled a list from 3 different websites what all the recruits said about the atmosphere yesterday. We'll be right back. We got to talk about it. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at, of course, and look, we love talking about the game cap. Why? Because it's the game cap, man. We got a quick question for all of you football fans out there. If you could go back and sit in front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the backyard brawl from yesterday's game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles that worn back in the 80s and 90s, and guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use promo code Locked On, you'll get your vintage hat for just $16.99. So head over to gamecaps.com. That's thegamecaps.com, where you can grab your team's classic bar or retro circle style design and use code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because with the legends, they wear the game. And of course, we can't forget our friends over at Prize Picks. Listen, what do you guys know about Prize Picks? I'm curious to know. Prize Picks is one of those things that, it's a daily fantasy app where you make the right call and it can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, right? Well, Prize Picks being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less than 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes. It's that simple in less than 60 seconds, guys. It's quick, it's easy, and honestly, my favorite way to follow along with football, especially when I don't have a rooting interest. So if you want to download Prize Picks today, use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in the lineups. After you play your first $5 lineup, you can do it today with code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup with Prize Picks. It's good to be right. It's segment 2. Let's crack open this dude, guys. In celebration. Baja blast my ass right up into the sun. I'm going to try to plug and unplug this really quick to see if the light will come back on. Okay. It's not looking good. I'm about to buy a new one this coming week. Yeah, my ring light's it's done. It's cooked. I don't know what's happened to it. I've had it for years since I started. So it's just finally decided to go bye-bye. All right. Well, you can still see me at least. It's not like I'm totally dark here. Maybe I'll quit wearing a hat for a couple episodes. But anyway, something I wanted to point out too is I wanted to look at the plays individually, in the second half and overtime, if I can. Let's see. Yeah, so this is let's see. This drive began after Pitt's touchdown, which extended their league. Their extended their lead. This is play 1. Pass to Rodney Gallagher for 14 yards. Play 2. Pass to Rodney Gallagher for 13 yards. Play 3. Ty Edward run. Play 4. Pass complete to Cam Vaughn for 3 yards. Play 5. 3rd and 4. Pass complete to Clay Ash for 15 yards under heavy pressure. Play 6, first and goal, a 1-yard run from Nico Marchiol, design keeper that was stuffed. Play 7, second goal, Edwards run, no Marchiol run there. To play 8, third and goal, incomplete pass. Play 9, fourth and goal. That's the field goal where he went 4 for 5 on 45 yards. We got within 7. Then we got a defensive stop. Right after that, on the first 2 plays, Edwards ran 2 gains up the middle, manageable. Play 3 was a first and 10 at the West Virginia 13, which was a complete pass to Rodney Gallagher again for 9 yards. Play 4, second and 1 was an incomplete pass to Cam Baum, which was broken up in coverage. But I think this is one of these. It was at the one that was no, that's not the pass interference yet. Play 5, third and 1. You had to delay a game penalty. Despite we having a timeout, we got moved back. Rich Rob was nuclear mad at this point. Play 6, you were 3rd and 6. And that's the pass to Clay Ash for 6 yards that he just barely caught. And obviously we converted. Play 7 as another. It was that pass over the middle to Grayson Barnes for 34 yards. A deep shot over the middle where he threaded the needle between safeties. It was his longest completion of the game and a complete momentum shifter. The entire stadium went completely nuclear at that point. For play 8, first and 10, this is when we were starting to think, oh, my God, we can do this. Complete to Cam Baum for 13 yards, right? Play 9 at the 15 of Pitt. Pass interference on them trying to just basically tackle Cam Baum because they couldn't guard him. Play 10, first and goal to 2, incomplete pass to Grayson Barnes is broken up in the end zone. Second and goal, play 11, incomplete pass to Rodney Gallagher was overthrown. Play 12, third and goal, complete pass to Grayson Barnes for the touchdown. Oh, man, what an excellent pass it was, too. Right over the linebacker's outstretched hands. Extra point from Cade Hensley was good. On that drive, he went 5 for 7 for 64 yards and a touchdown. So on the final the final 2 drives of the game, he went 9 for 12 for 109 yards and a touchdown on the final 2 drives. I'm doing quick math here because I'm live and I'm not thinking about it too much. But yeah, I think it's he was 5 for 7, 64 yards and a touchdown on the game tying. Then he was 4 for 5 and 45 yards on the field goal. So those final 2 drives, and then you had the overtime. Play 1, Ty Edwards run, part of 3 consecutive Edwards runs, which totaled 14 yards. Play 2, Edwards run, play 3, Edwards run. Now we're at the Pitt 11. Play 4, which was 3rd and 6 at the Pitt 11. That was the pass to Jacob Barrick where it looks like he got hurt for 7 yards, but it was a first down with your first and goal. You had the where they tried to do the fake pass up the middle with Nico, which was unsuccessful on play 5, which is first and goal. Second goal, Ty Edwards had a 3-yard run. Play 7 was 3rd and goal. Nico tried to do the push. They tried to do the push. And then play 8, 4th and goal. You had Ty Edwards touchdown, baby. It's hard to believe that was on 4th and goal. I totally forgot about that. So Nico was 1 for 1, 100% completion percentage on that for a first down when you really needed it on that drive. So add 7 more yards and 1 more completion. That's 10 for 13, about 115 or 16 yards, somewhere in there. A touchdown, no picks on the final 3 drives of the game. You want to talk about making plays when you need to make plays? Yes, sir. I'll take another. I want that, Nico. I want that guy back. Give me him for Kansas, and we'll be all right. All right. So the recruits had a lot to say about the post game, but let's go to break. Since we've already did all that, we may as well go ahead and go to break, and we'll finish it in segment 3. We'll be right back. And of course, we're talking about none other than 5-Hour Energy, guys. on this one. And look, 5 Hour Energy is one of those spots. If you don't know about them, now you know. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and zero crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. They got big taste, tiny shot, and you can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. And look, I always reach for my favorite flavor. I really do because it's refreshing and gives me that quick lift before a busy day. And look, I love how fast it kicks in. It's sugar free. I don't really have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online with 5hourenergy.com or at Amazon today. And last but not least, guys, we're talking about FanDuel, of course, and our friends over at FanDuel are elite right now. I mean, you really can't do any better than what FanDuel's doing right now. The NFL season is here. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get, if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bets to use across the app. That's if you win that first $5 bet. And look, it's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Saturdays or Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right. The recruits had a lot to say after the game. I've got a breakdown of everything that they said. Very interesting, definitely. Mason Wilt, 2027 offensive line. He said it was crazy. West Virginia fans were really loud. It was a great game. Rich Rod just says what he means and what he said, and he says what he means and means what he says. The way he had the team ready after they lost two of their best players is impressive. Sure, I want to go where the coaches are the best and will develop me. What a game. Impressive. How the Mountaineers played after losing two of their best players is awesome. Minkin Johnson, linebacker 2027. I always had faith. Just knew they were going to come out on top with the win, and they were playing hard and physical. Rhett Morris, 2026 O-line commit. Hard edge. It comes down to who prepares more and who wants it more, and that's exactly what West Virginia did. I'm excited to be a part of that. Cam didn't go for it, the Pancake King. This was freaking amazing. The atmosphere was insane. I'm so pumped. I wanted to go get in the game. I really felt like the tide was turning, and you could feel the drive in West Virginia. Side note on Cam Goforth, he and I texted after the game as well, and he told me that people were stopping him on the side of the road and somewhere they had stopped him and his family, like they already know who he is because he's been, committed to us for a little while. I said, well, imagine that in times 10. If you come to West Virginia and you actually – if you don't even have to play, but especially if you play, you become a real celebrity. It's not a lie. You really are a celebrity for life. So that's a big one. Nye Woods, another 2027 quarterback recruit. The game was great. The atmosphere was unmatched, and unlike any place I've ever seen. So far, the history was rich, and the intensity was through the roof. Morgantown was the only place anyone should have wanted to be. Wow. Trey Haddad, one of the best recruits in the country that we are going after. Cleveland, Ohio, as Cleveland and St. Ignatius, one of the best high school programs in the country. The atmosphere was out of this world. I was so happy that I chose this game because it's something I'll never forget. Being able to run onto the field after the game was one of the coolest experiences of my life. We'll definitely be coming back down to Morgantown. That's pretty cool. Xavier Radica, one of the best tight end recruits in our class. Great game. It was interesting to watch since I'm being recruited by both regularly. My family is from PA and the West Virginia area, so I know how much this game means. My dad even played against West Virginia when he was at Tulsa. We have a great relationship with both tight end coaches at Pitt and WVU. We had a homecoming weekend at Lakota West, so I could not attend the backyard brawl despite being invited, but instead we watched it on TV during homecoming, which was good. I will be visiting different West Virginia and Pitt games this season. I've already reached out to West Virginia staff to congratulate them. Well, that's pretty cool. Landon Moore, man, that was a wild ending. The fans really helped this team really rally back together with their loyalty and staying at the game instead of leaving. This West Virginia team had grit and is a nasty football team. I love Rich Rod's hard edge mentality. Can't wait to get back up and with West Virginia and experience another game, especially after today, and hopefully get offered by them in the near future. Jaden Lindsay, a 2027 offensive lineman. That comeback was crazy. The best part was when the team was down, the fans were still electric. Hands down the loudest stadium I've ever been in. The team was relentless through all four quarters overall. A great team win, in my opinion, on West Virginia. Changes after today for sure. So one opinion has been changed. Sam Hamilton, a guy they've been courting a lot in 2026, tight end. It was an unreal atmosphere to be a part of in Morgantown this weekend. From the coaches to the fans, everyone was amped up and ready to go beat Pitt. That's why the other recruits and I are Mountaineers, hard-edged. Zyron Hughley, 2026 quarterback. At first, I was a little mad because we was down, but then after we scored, I was turned up. I knew we was going to come back and win the game because we had more dogs up front, and I believed in my team to pull it off, and we did proud of them boys. A couple more. Rick Brown, 2027 linebacker from PA. The backyard brawl is amazing, simply amazing. I love how coaches consistently made them better day by day, improving, and it's showing because that team did not fold in crunch time. This game definitely has influences in my recruitment. West Virginia has already shown me tons of love, and the backyard brawl is my first ever West Virginia game in person. I loved every bit of it. Definitely at number 2, closing at number 1 on my board. So Rick Brown, you need to pay attention to him. Josiah and Pofo, Washington, D.C., defensive lineman out of St. College High School, another powerhouse high school out of the D.C. area. The backyard brawl was an absolutely incredible experience, one of the best games I've seen in a long time. Coach Rod has handled his team amazingly, and Saturday's game was an example of that. Nobody gave up, and everyone kept fighting until the last whistle. My recruitment has definitely been influenced in a great way since I've been in Morgantown. What a great place. And then lastly, Jerome LaRue, a 2028 running back out of Harrisburg, PA, at Bishop McDevitt, another powerhouse program. What Coach Rodriguez has going on here is top-notch. The atmosphere and staff were undeniable. Best one yet. I love West Virginia. Lots of great responses from the recruits here today, guys. So it was a very productive day with the backyard brawl. Super excited we had a day like that. We deserved it. It's been a long time coming. And I can't thank you guys enough for riding along and riding this thing out with me. We'll talk more here in a little bit. Obviously, we've got more to discuss today. I've got Spencer from Locked On College Football coming on at some point after the Seahawks game. We've got a lot to get to. Make sure you stick here to Locked On West Virginia for that. And I'll be back here in the next 30 minutes to an hour to talk about Zach Alley and that defense as well, and to get Spencer's opinion on just what this game meant to West Virginia. Until then, guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. And do me a favor, in case you did not know, and I'm sure by now you do, when it comes to West Virginia, it means more, and it really does. But when it comes to Locked On, it's another big moment for Locked On college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview with Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12, leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, and former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Do me a favor and catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. All right, guys, I'll see you in a bit. Q Country Roads. We're out.